Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking about Monday Night Raw on the road, the last Raw, that is, before King and Queen of the Ring. We're, of course, going to be doing our live reactions to that this coming weekend, along with Sunday night's AEW Double or Nothing. So be sure to join us for that. Should be a lot of fun. Wrestling's always better with the friendos, Larson.
You got that right. You got that right.
So, couple of twists and turns last night on the road to King and Queen of the Ring. One potential upset, another one, I don't know how to describe it. Jey Uso lost clean to Gunther. Not terribly surprising, but...
Hold on. You're really underselling how badly Gunther beat the shit out of Jey by saying Jey lost to Gunther.
Gunther got massacred.
Wrecked him.
Yeah,
wrecked him. I would keep on looking on Twitter to see if there's if Jey posted a picture of his chest post match or this morning.
Yeah,
because it's going to be gnarly. I don't know if it's going to be PCO type chest after he wrestled Gunther.
Those were loud chops last night.
But especially the latter half of the match where Gunther's like, all right, I've had enough of Jey Uso. Mm-hmm. He was unloading, and there was blood trickling down. It looked like Jay's chest from all the chops. They were gnarly, thunderous. Dude. Yeah. They were loud.
They were.
And, hats off to Jey. And, I assume that'd be something agreed upon because there was definitely an increase in the power behind the chops in the second half of that match.
Mm-hmm, sure, yeah.
And I would assume that'd be something agreed upon by both parties. And hats off to Jey for taking those because that's got to hurt. That's got to sting. Yeah. They're going to welt. He's going to feel like shit today, I'm sure.
Oh, my gosh.
But in terms of telling the story they told in that main event last night, it was good stuff. It was great stuff.
Yeah, it was. And I'm not going to say necessarily that it was a surprise. It's Gunther. I think you and I both chose Gunther going into this entire thing.
Yeah.
And even as recently, I did like an early predictions video a week or two ago. And I still had Gunther versus Randy Orton heading into King of the Ring. Seems like that's still going to be the thing.
Yeah, that's going to be the case, yes.
But I do appreciate the twists and turns along the way. I mean, the fact that Jey beat essentially the debuting Ilya, and then went in against Gunther. I was like, okay, well, they might do a bloodline storyline. That's a possibility.
Made sense.
And given just how hugely over Jey Uso is, it's funny because over at WrestleJuice I did sort of looking at the internet's reaction to Jey Uso taking this L. It's funny because there was a big backlash against Jey Uso when he took the win against Ilya, and because everybody loves Ilya. And then going into this, there was like sort of a swing on the other way. People really are recognizing just how popular Jey Uso is. And so to see the backlash against his loss is kind of funny.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. But no one can deny the man is supremely, probably the most over guy on the roster. And he had an incredible entrance last night. They did the thing, where he does the promo, they follow him, and it is a really impressive shot when he goes out there. But man, I honestly don't think for the Jey stands out there, Larson, I honestly don't think there's much need to be concerned simply because there is no way Triple H doesn't see the reactions this guy is getting. And I don't know necessarily what the ceiling is going to end up being for Jey Uso, but I feel like they understand, Triple H understands, the more this guy loses, the more popular he becomes. And I think that it's going to reach a head where they'll use this sort of like negative momentum to catapult him way up to that next level. What's your take on that?
I don't know if I'd say the more he loses, the more popular he becomes. I will say I think it's more a situation where his popularity is somewhat immune to wins and losses. People like Jey Uso. They like the character, and I think to a degree, they like probably him, the person. You know what I mean? Like his enthusiasm, his charisma extends well beyond the camera, beyond the four sides of the ring. and the audience just appreciates him, his character, and his story arc as it's been now. And I was thinking about this morning as far as what's the end game for this main event Jey Uso character, because if it's they've had multiple opportunities to do something to at least justify the nickname main event Jey Uso. You know, we're coming up on almost a year since I mean, it's been like 9-10 months since he split from the bloodline. And I know Triple H takes his time and stuff, but it feels like if this is essentially, I'm wondering if they're going to tell a story and either going to go two routes with it. And first, Jey will always be on the cusp of massive success until he patches things up with Jimmy. You know, maybe the idea that he's going all in on the Yeet stuff, you know, and that's essentially his character now is Yeet. To a degree. A lot of the complexity that Jey had for, you know, the duration of the Bloodline story and a little bit thereafter is kind of taken a backseat to Yeet Jey Uso.
Well, it's celebratory. This is what was Beck's party album after the devastating breakup with his wife? God, what was it called?
Midnight Vultures?
Yeah, Midnight Vultures. He's in his Midnight Vultures phase where he's gotten over the trauma, or he's getting over the trauma.
Well, I mean, here's
the
thing,
He beat Jimmy at WrestleMania. It was a terrible match, but he beat Jimmy at WrestleMania, and now he's going through his celebration phase.
Or it could be the thing where this Yeet stuff is a facade to hide the pain he still feels about being estranged from his brother.
Which is what Midnight Vultures was.
Yeah. So, and he can't, until he heals that wound, until he reunites with his brother, he can't reach the pinnacle of success as a singles wrestler. Or...
Yeah, but okay, hold on a second. Stop there for a moment.
What?
Doesn't that necessitate a reunion of the Usos as a team?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say no, not necessarily.
I mean, they can reunite as a team. I guess Jey could still do stuff. Anyways. Or, and this would be a bummer, where all that's still the case, but rather than him reuniting with Jimmy and thus finally taking the next step to massive singles success, it's the realization that he's never been good enough to be a singles wrestler and he's a tag wrestler. Which would be a bummer. You got so many people investing in Jey Uso.
Worse story beat.
You got so many people investing in Jey Uso, and at the end of which he's like, "I'm just gonna be a tag wrestler again." Yeah, he'll still be popular, but I think people will be like, "All right, we really like main event Jey Uso."
Yeah, this to me, dude, and when I said earlier, you know, losing makes him more popular, losing on the big stage, getting this close, being denied by there's always that weird thing, being denied by WWE management, the top prize, you know, whether it's King of the Ring.
I think people would feel that way more if Vince were still in charge as opposed to Triple H. I think Triple H has enough goodwill for the most part that people have faith in his booking decisions. That wasn't the case when Vince was in charge.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I don't know that it's necessary. Dude, I'm sorry, man, but if Jey Uso continues to become more popular with the crowd and he continues to lose at that highest level, that crowd ain't going to give a shit who's in charge. They're going to be, they're just going to be louder and louder for him. There's going to be the LA Knight thing, which the LA Knight thing was largely under Triple H. And I think that dude, he's going to end up winning the United States Championship.
Yeah, obviously.
And I think for Jey, it might just, here's the thing about LA Knight that I've always said, the United States Championship will probably be enough. I think people will be like, hey, good job. They recognize him. He's going to be a terrific U.S. champion. He's probably not going to need to go after the Cody title or even the Damian Priest title. And I think with Jey, I don't think it needs to be even the Damian Priest title. It could be the Intercontinental Championship, which, as you've said before, a lot of interesting options there with Sami Zayn if they end up going that route. And I don't know, maybe they'll just keep Jey going in a relatively strong way, never quite winning the big one. But once you get around to Roman coming back and his inevitable, reunion with not just Jimmy, but Roman as well, the family, and they're taking on Bad Bloodline at War Games, maybe that'll be enough. Maybe that'll be the thing. Maybe Jay will get the big win there. And then who knows what the plan could be from there. But he is wildly over, and it wouldn't shock me given the world title is kind of the title that could be passed around a little bit, a little less precious than Cody's title. Wouldn't shock me to see him win that in 2025, perhaps, if his trajectory continues along the same path. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What is more likely? Jey Uso wins the world title, or Jey Uso, to happen next for him? He wins the world title or the tag title with Jimmy? What's more likely to happen next? Or first, I should say.
See, the issue with the World Heavyweight title seed is obviously you got Drew and you got Punk. Drew will probably beat Priest for that title at Clash of the Castle, and then he'll feud with Punk after Punk comes back. So end of the summer, early fall. That's going to be the feud. Once Seth comes back, he's going to try to insert himself in that picture too, especially if at some point Punk beats Drew for that title. Then we're finally going to get Seth and Punk. Probably for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now they could easily do that, both those feuds, Drew, Punk, Seth Punk outside the title picture, but the fact that Drew has a title opportunity is probably going to come at Clash of the Castle in Scotland. You have to think he'll probably win that.
Yeah.
So, based on the feuds available and already with the groundwork laid, the World Heavyweight Championship scene could be booked for the rest of the year, over the next 7 months.
Yeah.
Jay is on the outside of that.
Yeah.
The flip side, we don't know when Jimmy's coming back from injury. I don't even know if we know what his injury is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, any reunion is going to be tied to probably Roman coming back, him rebuilding good bloodline to take on bad bloodline, but we don't know when that's all going to start. I'm just explaining my thought process here because, if you said it would be more likely mid-card title or tag titles, I'd usually say mid-card title because I think that's the most likely title for him to win as a singles competitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't foresee a World Heavyweight Championship reign for Jay in this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could happen. I don't see it.
Yeah,
but likewise, I don't
see a tag title. I think it's
I don't see a tag
possible.
title reign this year either.
I think it's entirely possible that Bad Bloodline gets their hands on those SmackDown tag titles. I think that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, and it's possible that Jay could cross brands, I don't know. I think that the world title is going to be kind of booked like the Attitude Era world title. How it's sort of, there's so much talent, and there's so much main event level talent on Raw to justify that thing going from person to person. I'm bullish on. I think bullish is the pessimistic view, right? There's bullish and there's bearish. Bearish is the good one, I think. Bullish is the bad one, I think. I could be wrong.
But the other way around.
I'm pessimistic on Punk ever getting his hands on that world title, simply because I don't know about the injury thing with him, and I hate to say that. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case.
They should proceed with caution.
Absolutely.
Given his recent injury history. Absolutely. That would just be smart.
At this point, I don't even know about Seth, to be honest with you. I get Seth is kind of too big for that world title. He had it for such a long time. I feel like Seth is sort of he's prestiged out of that shit. I feel like he should just go to SmackDown, although I know you hate that idea because his name sounds like Raw.
It's Monday Night Rollins. Private Pulse here gifting a bunch of subs here on the Twitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Private Pulse. Now we have 25 of those gifts of Tongaloa doing those amazing chops to Okada. Yeah. So anyways, let's turn our focus to, we already talked about Gunther and Jay White. Gunther moves on. Got to be taken on Randy Orton.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Tamatonga then to advance to the finals. It makes a lot more sense for Randy Orton, maybe with help Kevin Owens, to neutralize bad bloodline. Orton gets the win. He advances. And we get Orton versus Gunther. And we had this debate yesterday regarding which way they're going to go regarding Jay and Gunther. Now that Gunther's won, it just makes all the sense in the world for Randy to win over on the SmackDown side of the bracket. We get that huge marquee matchup. I would think Gunther would win that probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, while he is, Gunther's another name that you could easily put in the World Heavyweight Championship scene over on Raw.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Didn't even mention him.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have the advantage over Jay, I think, in terms of power ranking contenders, too.
Oh, I said Jay White, not Jay Uso. My bad. Meant Jay Uso.
Oops. So, yeah, you got to think Gunther's going to win that.
Yeah. I know Meltzer said something about he feels that Orton could be the favorite because it's like there's a match there against Cody.
Well, we just saw with AJ, he lost and then went right into a title program with Cody.
Yeah, I don't think you need a king of the ring win, and I think it does more for the ring general to be the king general. Plus, you got August, not that far away, 3 months off. You got Bash at Berlin. Maybe they could do a title match there against Drew McIntyre. Again, if you Attitude Era book that shit, Drew can have it for 2 months after Clash at the Castle, then give it up to Gunther in Berlin. Have his Punk match at SummerSlam, beat Punk there. And then you get Gunther getting that title in Berlin. You have like 5 champions by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I say do that shit, Keep it interesting.
Yep. Give us a level of unpredictability in how this title is being booked.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about an upset, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Lyra Valkyria getting the clean win over Io Sky to advance to the Queen of the Ring finals.
Hell of a match, too.
Really good match. Really good match. The 2 tournament matches last night on Raw were both really, really good.
Super good, yeah.
So does that inform your thinking at all about who advances from the SmackDown side of the bracket?
Man, you got 2 options. You could do veteran babyface versus rookie babyface in just a killer match, Bianca versus Lyra. Or you got Nia Jax. Nia Jax would be a killer. Just an absolutely killer Queen of the Ring. I'm really pessimistic on Lyra's chances of winning the entire thing. Mm-hmm. But at this point, honestly, on the women's side, I'm throwing my hands up, man. I don't know. You and I were locked in on Io. Oh, Io's going to win. I was right there. And then she loses? Holy shit. Jade insisting to Bianca, don't let that bitch cheat. Well, that might be setting up what Nia's got planned for Bianca. Nia's done such terrific work. I could see them doing something. Could you imagine Nia Jax and Gunther winning King and Queen in the Ring? That's a hell of a class right there.
Yeah.
So dude, I'd be so shocked if Nia Jax got through both Jade and Bianca. I know it was a DQ, but still, she manufactured that. Like, she was able to manipulate that situation to her advantage.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I don't... If I had to bet, I'd say Bianca wins the whole thing. They do babyface versus babyface just for a killer match at Queen of the Ring. Mm-hmm. That's where my money would go. Mm-hmm. And given that we're going to do our predictions today, I understand that, it's for entertainment purposes and we get to fill out our forms, day before, whatever.
Yeah.
But, if I had to put money on it right now, I'd say Bianca wearing that crown looks pretty darn good. But Nia with that crown, I could see that too, man.
I think if Bianca advances from the SmackDown side of the bracket, she's going to win the tournament.
If who?
If Bianca advances to the final, she's going to win.
Oh, it's got to be a SmackDown Queen of the Ring at this point.
You would think so, because it seems inevitable that Gunther's going to win. I shouldn't say inevitable. It seems likely that Gunther's probably going to win the King of the Ring tournament. I will say Lyra's chances are better. I'm not saying like vastly better, but better against Nia in terms of winning the whole thing as opposed to Bianca.
What, really?
I would think so.
Really? What makes you say that?
Because here's the thing about Lyra, and this is the primary case I can come up with for her winning, is that it's not an official thing. Lyra winning Queen of the Ring could justify her having a match against Becky.
Okay.
And given their history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Prior to NXT, the NXT women's title match,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they've already crossed paths several times on main roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe they want to use Lyra winning Queen of the Ring to launch her into a title program with Becky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's possible, but I don't know if it's likely.
All right, so let's do this.
Sure.
Time to power rank. All right.
Let's do it.
We've got Gunther, Randy, Tamatanga on the men's side still.
Yeah.
We've got Bianca, Lyra, and Nia on the women's side. So we're just going to put them all in a big
Six
group.
names. Yeah, 6 names. Who's most likely to win and who's least likely to win.
So out of all these names, doesn't the ring general, isn't he the most likely to win his entire thing?
Yeah, I would think Gunther's the most likely winner of the King of the Ring tournament. Yes.
Okay, now let's go to the other end of this. Who's the least likely to win the entire thing?
Tamatanga. Now, if Jey Uso would advance, that's a different story.
Right.
Gunther advancing, I feel like Tamatanga has next to no chance of beating Randall Keith Thornton.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Tamatanga, number 6. Tamatanga.
Yes.
So we've got our number 1, we got our number 6.
Number 2 is tough.
Woo!
It's between Randy and Bianca for me. I feel like I'd give Bianca the edge for the number 2 spot.
Golly. Nia already beat Jade, but then you've got a babyface versus babyface in the final.
Yeah.
But then you could do that. You did Becky and Lyra as babyface versus babyface in NXT.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Randy or Bianca at number 2. Boy, oh boy. I would say this because Tamatanga ain't nowhere. Tamatanga is like so far out of the top.
Yeah.
Like it's like 1 through 5 and then a huge gap.
Massive
and it's
gulf.
Tamatanga.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, you've got 3 women and 2 men who are realistic options.
Yeah. Yes.
Randy's got more favorable odds because he only has 1 person to compete against. So I'd say Randy number 2.
Yeah. Orton's 2. Orton at 2 is good. And then Bianca
and here's
at 3.
The thing. And Bianca at 3. Here's the thing, too, about Randy. My pen broke. Here's the thing about Randy. Saudi Arabia loves Randy Orton. He's got that legacy pop there. So I would give him the edge as well. So Bianca at number 3.
And then Nia at 4. And then
I
Lyra
love
at 5.
Boy, I love Nia as the queen of the ring.
Yeah.
Boy, that'd be
I don't
great.
think there's much of a difference between Bianca in 3 and Nia at 4. I think you could easily justify putting Nia at 3.
So we got Gunther at 1, Randy at 2, Bianca at 3, Nia at 4, Lyra at 5, and Tamatanga at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Randy, Bianca, and Nia are all really close together, and I don't think Gunther's that far ahead of that pack. This is a close King and Queen of the Ring. I love that about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Pretty cool.
It's been by far the most interesting stuff they've been doing on their programming over the last month or so.
Oh, for sure.
The King and Queen of the Ring stuff. Because otherwise, a lot of the stories on Raw,
The tag division on Raw, and even like the
is-
world title on Raw,
is
Damian Priest has taken such a backseat to like he doesn't fill any of these roles. He's not best bout machine on Raw.
no,
He's not most popular guy on Raw.
not even close.
He's not like biggest bad guy on Raw.
Nope.
He's really none of like, bro, it was halfway through Raw before he even showed up, and I barely even noticed. At a certain point, I was like, wait a second. Where the hell is the world champion? Who is the world? Oh, it's Damian Priest. Where is this guy? Still, like, his biggest concern right now is like running Carlito down.
Yeah,
What are they doing with this guy?
I don't know. I don't know. He as world champion, like I again the world title, much like Money in the Bank, the briefcase is an albatross for Judgment Day because now Damian Priest is walking around. I'm Mr. Leader of Judgment Day. No, Carlito, you can't come in our clubhouse. And it's driving a wedge. We saw that last night between Finn and Priest. There's some interesting dynamics. Problem is, I can see to a degree that they're utilizing Priest in a similar fashion they did with Rhea so far. It's a small sample size with Priest, where his title reign, like hers, wasn't so much about the individual feuds as about how it elevated his position on Raw. So far, though, it's not hitting with him like it was with Rhea, because Rhea, for the longest time, felt like the Roman Reigns of Raw because she was involved in so many things and her presence was felt throughout the show, whereas Priest is just seemingly concerned about keeping Carlito out of the clubhouse.
That's a super motivation right
you
there.
know, and making sure JD gets his ass kicked by Braun Strowman. Those are kind of his primary concerns. I assume they're gonna use JD stepping up to Braun to motivate Braun and Priest at some point. But time's a ticking if that's going to be a pay-per-view match, because that's not going to be the Clash at the Castle match, I wouldn't think.
The thing about Rhea is that like a lot of people, and granted there were never like serious challengers except for Nia, but like everybody was sort of coming at Rhea and she had to manage everything. Nobody's coming for Priest. Like Drew is obsessed with CM Punk, Seth is injured, Jey Uso is, doing what he's
loses
doing
main event matches. Gunther's about to be king of the ring.
Yeah. Braun Breaker said that let's talk about Braun Breaker.
It was an interesting tweak on the squash match formula, where usually you have someone at the squash match comes and destroys their opponent and walks out. Where he sees this dude walk up and Braun just says, "What the hell is this? Another enhancement talent, I get a squash." And he's pissed about it. He wants real competition because he wants to prove that Adam Pearce should be in the King of the Ring tournament. I like it.
Dude, he is us. Another squash match? What are we even doing here? Why do you keep like he's like, I mentioned this I mentioned this about Kendrick Perkins the other day. It's like a Kafka's nightmare. I'm here on main roster. I proved in NXT I can have long matches. I can carry good matches. Why are you booking me like Goldberg? Why are you just dumping a bunch of chumps in front of me? I should be in King of the Ring. I should be proving myself. Why does Ilya get to do this and I don't? He's there with us. He took one look at this Cale Dixon guy from NXT, which, by the way, dude, it'd have been kind of amazing if they did the Dan Matha thing with Braun Breaker.
Oh, yeah.
You build up, but I get that it's not the point of what he's doing because they're supposed to be nobodies. But if they built up somebody, they had Cale Dixon get drafted from NXT. It's like, wait, what the hell?
No, it would be great if they did something like that where it's Ilya facing the Dan Matha type guy. Mm-hmm. And then Braun is the Samoa Joe in that equation.
Oh, yeah.
He goes out and wrecks. I was like, Ilya gets the highly touted prospect. I get jobbers.
Yeah. That could have been good. But no, I loved it. And he just a cold bastard goes and completely takes his head off. That was hella shocking, dude. That was so shocking. And then backstage, he takes out Ricochet, Trevor Ricochet Man, lawyer.
What the heck was Ilya doing during the aftermath of that? Standing next to Pierce.
I was laughing so hard because somebody pointed that out on Twitter. So it's in my Wrestle Juice video. He's just.
He reminds me of the Try the Wine guy in Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. He's just intensity, and
he is super intense.
The thing that it works so well with Ilya is that like he obviously buys into it. Works so well for him. You can't take your eyes off Ilya. You cannot take your eyes off this guy. It's pretty great.
Well, especially when he's doing stuff like what he did in that scene. You can't like not focus on him. Regardless what else is going on in the scene, you're like, what the hell is he doing?
Maggie says, and I know she's talking about Trevor Ricochet Man. She says, bro, they should have let that dude bite a blood capsule and have him cough up blood after this beer. Oh, she's talking about Cale Dixon.
Yeah.
But it'd been great if they did that with Ilya. He's just sitting there and he's so intense, he start bleeding out of his mouth.
I know. It's like, Ilya, what'd you do?
Yeah.
So intense, I burst a blood vessel in my mouth.
Oh man, no, there's so much to like though about, and even they fit a quick Kiana James cameo within all the chaos. But I love when they embrace the chaos because that's what it should be. Pierce clearly, managing his own alcohol addiction, trying to maintain some order on Raw, and, and he's miserably failing at it. It's like that rumor that that Vince would forget that he had booked certain matches the week before and then book them again the next week. Well, Adam Pearce, forgetting that he's booking Braun Breaker in all these squash matches, forgets to put him in King of the Ring and tries to cover up for it. And Braun's like, okay, fuck you. I'm going to go take out Trevor Ricochet, man.
There we go.
So no, that was good stuff. But anyways, before we dive into our actual Raw recap here, now that we're 30 minutes deep, quick reminder, the Week of Champions is upon us, Larson. That's right. This Saturday, it is nigh. This weekend, we've got WWE King and Queen of the Ring, and of course AEW Double or Nothing, and of course we've got a huge predictions challenge coming up. Will John Hosey retain? Let me ask you something. If John Hosey wins this, that'll make him a 4-time, right? Because we count each event as a time. So, okay. As opposed to he loses and he gets it back.
First time anyone successfully defended.
Right, exactly.
As well.
We count each successful title defense as a separate win.
Yeah.
So that he'll be a 4-time champion.
Exactly.
But anyways, you can participate in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge coming up at Week of Champions. There's still time to get in on it. Go to patreon.com/Steven Larson. Click on the Friendo Club setup. It's $5 a month. It gets you access to that and our weekly Friendo cast bonus episodes. This week, we've got, we just want, I got to get that thumbnail up. I got to get that up. So a new one's going to be going up later on today. Later on this week, Larson and I are going to be finally doing our review of the Iron Claw, which a lot of people have been asking us to do. So if you want that, it's going to go exclusive to FriendoCast. If you're a huge fan of the Iron Claw,
maybe skip it.
Might not want to watch that particular episode.
I don't think so.
So that's coming up later on, exclusive to the Friendo Club setup. And then also you get access to the question threads that we have here for the show. There's 2 ways to get the Friendo Club set up. I already mentioned the Patreon, but there's also clicking join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Again, that's $5 a month. Either way you do it, it's $5 a month. You get access to the same thing. So if you're on the Patreon or you click join on YouTube, you get the same thing.
Indeed. Also, if you're watching live or VOD on YouTube, if you could, hit that like button. Really means a lot to us. It validates us. It makes us feel good. Plus, it's good for the video. Feeds into the algorithm, so I'm told I don't get math, algorithms, formulas. I don't understand any of them. But if you could, yes, please hit the like button. This one looks like a thumbs up. Also, while you're pressing buttons, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit that notify bell if you haven't, so you're notified whenever we put up new content. We do 5 podcasts every week. Each and every week. We got a super chat here from Alex Foster. Says, for anyone who doesn't know Cale Dixon, he has an NXT creepy Johnny Curtis vibes. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen clips of him, but I haven't seen it. Since we've been reviewing NXT, I don't think he's popped up yet.
No, I think he's on Level Up, as they mentioned on Raw last night. Mr. Dope gifting the membership to the community. Thank you, Mr. Dope.
Thank you, Mr. Dope.
And then we had another John and Alistair voice. John. Member for 5 months. Says, Larson, which wrestlers do you think should come out to these Run the Jewels songs? I'll try to remember to answer that during our question segment.
There we go.
John and Alistair voice.
Cool. Anyways, Raw opened up with, let's see here, a bunch of people. Oh, yeah. Michael Cole thinking that Jey Uso was showing up in his Yeet car, but it was really Io Sky.
It was a blue that was very similar to the blue he uses in his gear.
Yeah.
BMW, so.
Yeah, maybe Io stole it from him. Gunther and Jay show up as well. And then Sami Zayn comes out, drops a promo, says, good way to kick it off as any. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. We're 5 days away from King, Queen of the Ring in Jeddah. So I found myself in a triple threat match versus Bronson Reed and Chad Gable for my title. He says, I was asked earlier, well, why would you put up your title in triple threat? I tried to explain it because I have 2 issues on my hands, and I want to deal with them at the same time. One hand, we got a personal issue with Chad Gable. You don't beat German suplexing a man out of his wife's arms in his hometown in front of his 78-year-old father and not expect something to happen to you. You got an ass kicking coming your way, Chad Gable. He says the other issue is with Bronson Reed. It's not personal. He doesn't care about me or my family or Chad Gable. He says the way I see it, it's like a fight between the mind, body, and soul. The mind is Chad Gable, manipulative and crafty. The body is the brute force of Bronson Reed. And I'm the soul. And if I'm putting my money on which one will win the fight, I'm picking soul every damn time. All right, Sammy. Anyways, Chad Gable comes out. He says, hey, Sammy, did I hear you call me manipulative? Me? Let me ask you this. Did I manipulate you into beating Gunther? No, I coached you, selflessly, I might add. I figured out what my problem was. I'm too damn nice. I've been nice to you. Been way too nice to these three clowns behind me. And they all look down.
Yeah.
He says, take Maxine. Saturday, you should be competing Saturday for the title of Queen of the Ring. But you aren't. Why is that? Because you blew it. Failure. Tozawa, you did exactly 0% of the damage I asked you to do against Bronson. Failure. Which brings me to you, Otis. Last week, against Sammy, you proved again far and away why you're the biggest disappointment on the planet. And Sammy pipes up. He's like, I've heard enough out of you. Just stop. He's like, I got a question. Not for you, though. The question's for the Academy. How much longer are you going to deal with this guy's crap? And Gable's like, don't talk to them. I see what you're doing. He said it yourself. I'm the brains. I know you're driving a wedge, but they've already rededicated themselves to me, and I'm rebuilding the prestige of the Academy. I'm sick and tired of you talking about heart and soul. It's pathetic. In Saudi Arabia, I don't need to pin you, take your title, but I'm not just taking your title, I'm taking your soul. And so Sammy challenges him to a fight. So they get into a fight. They got a match, and it happens in that very moment right there.
One thing we should mention about the arrivals early on in the parking lot, there was a car in the background.
Yeah.
Finn Balor came out of that car.
Yeah.
And then Liv Morgan came out of the same car. So people have been noticing that she's had purple bandanas on some
brother.
And we thought, because Dom had been wearing his for a while, apparently Finn hasn't either.
We're in the car cranking each other off. Wow. Finn. You can't say that. That's really...
That's way too frank there,
cranking
Finn.
each... What? That's a lot, Finn. That's
a bit too much. So
we got stains all over the rental. Okay, dude. Come on. Jesus. Smells like butts in there.
Well, CM Punk's... Well, he's not there. CM Punk might go and is like, hey, you're gonna ruin running cars for all us wrestlers.
Listen,
behaving like this.
If you bring the car in with a bunch of crank stains...
and smelling like butt,
you're going to ruin it for all the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Wow. So then we had Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. And Chad Gable was just pleading with every member of Alpha Academy to help him win. They couldn't do it. And so he'd berate them. At one point, he told Maxine and Tozawa to leave the ringside area, get to the back.
Poor Tozawa. He looked like he wanted to cry.
Yeah. So that just leaves Otis out there. So Sammy's looking for a haluva kick, but Gable picks the ankle, puts on ankle lock. Sammy gets to the ropes. Gable throws Sammy out of the ring, distracts the ref for Otis to attack him, but Otis can't do it. Backs off. So Sammy gets back in the ring, and Gable's yelling at Otis and slaps him. So he grabs the Intercontinental title, takes a swing at Sammy. Sammy hits an exploder. Sammy's in the corner setting up for a haluva kick while the ref's checking on Gable. And then Otis gets on the apron and decks Sammy. So that allows Gable to hit a Chaos Theory to get the win.
Yeah. So that guarantees Sammy's coming home with that title.
Oh, yes.
Anyways, this is kind of cool, too. The crowd was giving Gable the old Kurt Angle, you suck
You
chant.
suck.
That was cool. Let's see here. We had a really cool, really well done EO Sky video package. This was awesome. Spoken in Japanese, but they had the subtitles there. She said, since I arrived, I've dominated everyone on my way. Been a champion of the world, but now I'm ready for my crown. Damage Control took over SmackDown, and once I'm the queen, everyone on Raw will have no choice to bow down, especially Lyra Valkyria. She says, Lyra, you're soaring now, but you've flown too close to the sun. You're in my domain, and you'll fail. I'm the genius of the sky and soon to be Queen of the Ring. It was really cool.
It was really well done. It was. Then Jackie's talking with the Alpha Academy. She's about to. But then you hear a commotion, so her and the camera crew go chasing, running down the corridor of the arena to see what's going on. And there's the LWO checking on Cruz del Toro, I believe it was, on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
selling an attack. And so Pierce runs in. He's like, where's medical? Give me medical. And it's just chaos.
It's just chaos everywhere, yeah.
Massive chaos.
Yeah, this next part was great. We already talked about it. Braun Breaker just absolutely annihilates this Cale Dixon guy. Braun is in there, and they do a great close up on him, and he's just beside himself. He's like, "What are we doing here?" He's like, "I didn't." And they had kind of the camera mic on him, and they piped that in. And he was like, well, I didn't even get into King of the Ring, and this is what I'm doing here, you know." So he just completely spears the shit out of him several times. Spears him on the floor. The ref is trying to call. The ref basically like, "Yeah, you can't continue. This match is is done
he
with."
stops the match.
It's ref stoppage. So the ref is sort of helping Cale Dixon up. Braun doesn't care. He runs the ropes a few times,
Like 3 times,
and just, like, it's crazy. The momentum factor here is absolutely nuts, because usually somebody runs the rope a couple times doesn't really do anything. This guy seemingly does get faster the more he runs the ropes.
Yeah.
So he kills this guy with another spear. Throws him out. Officials are trying to break all this shit up. He puts this poor dude's head in between, like, the steel step sort of, division thing. Takes a chair to it, completely kills the guy.
Oh, it was
and then
gnarly.
everybody's just trying to keep Braun off him. It's pretty great, but he's also kind of cold about it too. It's not like he's like in a fever pitch. He's just going about his business. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get somebody's attention around here."
Exactly. So we go to commercial. We come back, and they're putting Cale Dixon. He's on the stretcher. They're putting him in the ambulance. So Kiana walks up as Pierce is walking next to the stretcher and asks, "Hey, can I help?" And he's like, "No, not right now."
All right, now
They put Dixon into the ambulance, and then Pierce screams for Braun. So Braun walks in, and Pierce says, "I've never been good at math, but make this add up for me." Get a Steiner math reference there. "What the hell are you thinking?" And Braun just says, "You can't control me. You didn't put me in King of the Ring. That's on you," and walks out.
but he doesn't yell it.
Nope.
He's just very matter of fact about it, and he kind of whisper yells at him.
Yep. Then we get a video package in advance of Lyra and Io. And then we see Lyra backstage warming up. Becky walks up to her. Says, "You come a long way for this. You go show them why this is all worth it." Her music hits. Lyra makes her entrance. And Io follows. And then we get the Raw final. Or the final for the Raw side of the bracket. Semifinal overall for the Queen of the Ring tournament. Really good match. They gave it a ton of time.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and it was really spectacular. And a surprising finish here. So Lyra goes for a Nightwing, but Io slips off, hits a German suplex instead. Charges in, hits a Meteora, drags Lyra out, heads up. Lyra holds the ankle and heads up with Io. Lyra loads up on her shoulders, but Io is able to slip off, hits a really gnarly power bomb. Io then heads up top, but Lyra is able to get out of the way. Io sticks the landing. Lyra picks her up for a Nightwing, but Io slips off. And then Lyra does the thing where she stacks her up and gets the pin that way, and gets all 3 with it. So she gets the win. Lyra celebrates, poses on the corner. Jackie goes to interview her, but Io gets in, smacks the mic, grabs the mic, and screams at Lyra before leaving. I don't know what she said. She screamed at her in Japanese. And then Lyra says, 3 weeks ago, I couldn't imagine standing here beating a former WWE Women's Champion, but the trick is you don't always have to know how to get the job done, but just believe that you can. I'm one Nightwing away from becoming Queen of the Ring. Just a hell of a performance.
Yep, it was really good. Then we're backstage. R-Truth's back there with New Catch Republic. And I think they were doing the Hokey Pokey, if memory serves me correctly.
Something like that.
Of course, Pete Dunne, not really into it, so he leaves. As The Miz walks up, Tyler Bates says, "Good chat. We'll meet up later, maybe for those tag titles," and he leaves. And Truth is really putting over Pete Dunne. So says, "Pete Dunne is cool, mate." And The Miz is like, "What are you doing? We got a match against Judgment Day." And Truth says, "We got to think about their numbers advantage." And Truth says, "I got it covered. I talked to my man, Andre the Giant. And he's got her back tonight." And Miz says, "I'm going to tell you, Andre passed away 30 years ago." And Truth just says, "Passed away what?" Miz, of course, does not respond. Truth just says, "Trust me," and he walks off. And then Miz looks up towards the heavens and says, Andre, we could really use you in spirit. So Truth comes back and says, who are you talking to? And Miz like, nobody, and leaves. And Truth just says, and they say I'm the one that's crazy. And he says that looking upwards as well.
Dan here points out we missed this also during the Lyra match. She did that really cool submission thing that the crowd was like. Oh,
yeah, the pendulum stretch, yeah.
Crowd wasn't great last night, but they did gasp at the pendulum stretch.
You don't see that very often these days.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. Anyways, after that, we had Kayla with Ilya backstage. Talks about his loss last week. Asks him who he thinks is going to win the tournament. He says, as I said, I'm frustrated, but there's no shame in losing to a man they call the main event. This is the kind of fighter who sets the bar, and you need to break yourself to beat this man. He's so intense. He says, speaking of which, Gunther! And then Trevor Ricochet, man, lawyer at large, walks up. Says, hold on, homeboy. I think we set the bar pretty high. Before you say anyone else's name.
He set the bar high. Like the bar exam, Steve.
He says, I passed the bar, Ilya. And if you need a lawyer. He says, before you say anyone else's name, just because you got the best of me this one time, it's not over. You feel me? And then Bron Breakker comes through and just fucking rips this fool in half. I think he's got a good case against Bron Breakker, Larson.
He might, but will he represent himself?
Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. So, yeah, Bron just spears the hell out of him. He stands over him. Officials come in to break it up, go to commercial. We come back, get a replay of that. And then you have Adam Pearce there with trainers checking on Ricochet. And Ilya is standing there doing this.
You can't take your eyes off the guy.
Well, no, when he's doing stuff like that, of course you can't. Like, what is he doing?
Maybe, I don't know. He's doing a handless crank.
I don't know. Maybe he's willing it. He's willing
a crank, man.
So then we get a Gunther Jey Uso video package, and then we got a Gunther empty arena promo. He says, some months ago, I told Jey Uso simple gestures for simple people. And he does Jay's dance thing. He says, I was wrong. You turned yourself into the hottest thing going tonight. When we make our way to the ring, these seats will be filled with thousands chanting your name and filling this room with the illusion. The bad news is I'm the business of taking away hope. Filled with hope and illusion. That's what he says. But I'm in the business of taking away hope and dragging people back to reality, because tonight, when Jey Uso takes on Gunther, it's not about who is a more exciting act. It's about who is the better wrestler when that bell rings. Sorry to say, Jay, you may be the most exciting, but in the ring, I am superior to you. After the bell, all these people will embrace me, already General, soon to be King of the Ring.
And then he sat down and enjoyed that episode of Collision.
Yeah, a lot of people were making that joke that he would show up to the AEW show, yeah.
I was laughing so hard when I saw that. Anyways, after that, we had a replay of the Fatal 4-Way Tag Match where Carlito helped Judgment Day, and we're backstage in the Judgment Day clubhouse. Priest walks in and says, hey, my favorite Irish lads, to Finn and JD. You ready to bring those titles back home or what? Finn laughs and says, we're bringing them back to where they belong. And Priest says, Carlito, I heard what you did to Cruz and he's out a while. LW are pissed. They're looking for you. Carlito said, I decided to strike first, now laying low until the heat light dies down. Priest says, did I miss the sign that says APA? We're not your personal protection. You know that, right? He always has to make things awkward.
I know.
He's never like, oh, man, welcome in. Hey, we got your back. They're not going to mess with you. So Dom stands up for him. And Priest is like, yeah, that's why you're welcome this week. Just keep earning your keep. And then he wishes Finn and JD luck. And he pulls Finn back and Finn says, I wish it was you and me out there tonight. But I get it. You're the champ now. And then Carlito tries to talk basketball. Priest says, how about that New York Knicks game? Heartbreaking, huh? And Priest says, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't indulge in a little basketball talk, a little ball talk with Carlito?
I guess not. He can only humor Carlito so much, apparently.
It's not very cool.
It isn't very cool.
It's not cool.
You know what happens to people that aren't cool?
Santos Escobar.
All right. So then we got Awesome Truth making their entrance before that match against Judgment Day. Zoe and Shayna are backstage, and Sonya Deville's there.
Man, what a huge return in such an underwhelming way.
I know.
She deserves the big rigmarole.
I know. Yeah, the pageantry. The
This
strobe
was
lights.
cool,
Bring your
though.
strobe lights back.
I don't know. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is all about, though. She's cooking up something.
So she says, Shayna, there's something I actually want to talk to you about. And Shayna says, whatever you're trying to sell us ain't interested. But Zoe actually seemingly wants to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Shayna walks off. Judgment Day music hits. We get their match. Awesome Truth defending the tag titles. Judgment Day. Bron comes out to neutralize the numbers advantage of Judgment Day. By that I mean Carlito. He tried to come out and help Judgment Day get the win. But Bron comes down the ring, throws Carlito into the barricade, chases JD around the ring, and JD just gets back in the ring, right, and he gets hit with an AA from R-Truth. So Awesome Truth gets the win, and afterwards Bron poses with Miz and Truth. We go backstage, and Becky's congratulating Lyra on her win, and then Lyra bumps into Liv Morgan. And Liv says, "Oh, congratulations, but I'm surprised you didn't need Becky out there to help you get the win." And then she slaps Lyra and then walks away laughing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, Sammy's backstage in the locker room, and Bronson Reed walks up. He says, "Sammy, you don't need to be concerned with Chad and his mind games. That's all they are, games. You need to look in my eyes. I'm soulless. I only care about this business, and violence is how I make my money. So on Saturday, I use my body as a weapon and collect my biggest payday yet." But as we know from the Maven video, that's not really how the pay structure works.
He's got to fill his buckets first.
Got to fill the bucket first. Then Sammy turns around and, "Oh yeah, Otis is there."
Oh, but he's forlorn. He's sad.
Sammy really kind of was getting on my nerves with this one, man. Sometimes he's just a bit too self-righteous. He's like, "Look who it is, the guy who cost me my match. I expected better from you, Otis. I expected from Gable, but not you. Are you proud of yourself? You shouldn't be." Like, this poor son of a bitch is being manipulated, and Sammy's like, "Oh, are you proud of yourself?" Giving him the static.
Yeah.
And Otis says, "Sammy, I'm sorry. I really am." And Sammy says, "Damn it, Otis. I know you are. You're a good guy, but you didn't want to do that. It's Chad. He's not a good guy. I've been in your shoes before. Take it from me. It gets better once you stop listening to him and start listening to them." Meaning the people.
WWE Universe.
The WWE Universe, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then Becky comes to the ring for a promo. She says, "Man has come around to Greensboro, North Carolina in 5 days. I'll defend my title against Liv Morgan at Queen of the Ring. Liv and I have a lot of history. We fought in honor and bad blood."
All right. Look, man.
This was very long.
I like Becky Lynch a lot. But, dude, kind of their thing with her is just, and I get it, she's a very good ambassador for WWE. You bring her out there, she gets the crowd loves her. But these endlessly long promos, every single time she's in a feud, it's just go out there with the microphone, do a really long promo that really doesn't do much of anything in terms of advancing stories. And then that's what they do. And that's what they did here. We're not going to go through this entire thing. It was just
because then Liv comes out. Watch me. And yeah,
Liv's getting better.
Eh.
She was pronunciating and enunciating a lot more.
I'm not convinced by what she says still, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
It's
I'm
not
just saying
convincing.
she's louder.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but
The decibels are up.
it's still she seems very self-conscious when she drops a promo.
She does. It's starting to get better, though. She seems a little less self-conscious, a little bit.
I
think
know.
so. But yeah, dude, but
But it's just a back and forth about how Liv is saying, "I only care about the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour." She accuses Becky of gaslighting the WWE Universe. And then Becky says, Liv says, "Now I know what my purpose is."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the Revenge Tour. And Becky says, "You finally figured out your purpose after 10 years. Can't relate. I've known since I was 15. I wrote a best-selling book about my purpose. I wanted equality to change the game. I wanted to break through glass ceilings. And after 22 years, my purpose stays the same. I want to make this place better than I found it. But your purpose is revenge. All right, I get it. What happens next?"
Yeah.
And Liv says, "Well, that's what you say, but you only really care about yourself." And she says the fans can't hear what she's saying because their heads are so far up Becky's ass. She says, but thank you for not making her think about yourself and asking me a question. But after 10 years in WWE, I finally sit where I belong at the top of the women's division as the champ.
Yeah, dude, it's just endless talking.
It's like, just a lot of back and forth.
There's not a lot going on here. Anyways, afterwards, backstage, Priest says, someone want to explain what happened out there? Carlito, what did I just say about doing your part? And Dom's like, I thought JD was going to handle Bron. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Like JD said, I told him not to mess with us.
Yeah. And Priest says, easy fix. JD asked for a match with Strowman next week. Real talk, guys. I don't even recognize this anymore. And Finn says, he's right. JD, you go and talk to Finn, to Pierce right now.
Yeah.
So.
Then we have Damage Control making their entrance because we got a fatal four-way number one contender match for the women's tag titles. Before that match happens, so we're in the trainer's room and Xavier Woods gets cleared. His knee is good to go. And so Karrion Kross steps in and says, I just wanted to offer my support. Remember, there's always more time to turn things around.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess just a feud between Woods and
or AOP
Cross.
and New Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That could be. I guess. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel bad for Woods because you know how this works. New Day's gonna break as soon as these dudes end their feud. They get the win over AOP. 3 months later, New Day's actually gonna break up.
Oh, don't say that.
That's gonna happen. That's what they do.
I know.
Which at this point, if they're cognizant of it, I think originally it was coincidence. But like now, if they're cognizant of it, it's kind of a cool way to like initiate shit down the line.
Here's the thing: I know it hasn't been 3 months yet, but Final Testament feuded with Lashley and the Street Profits, and I don't see any change in the dynamic there whatsoever.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll happen. I mean, it'll be a year. I mean, that's the thing. Like everything, they always got to change stuff. And as long as you feud with Cross, you can always look back at that, and Cross is like another.
Oh, that was the pivot point where things fell apart for you.
Yeah, like he shows up in WWE. She puts that silly little hourglass down like it's Days of Our Lives. And then like what, 2 years later, Roman Reigns loses his title.
I know.
It's all because of Cross.
Took credit for it. It's like the Street Profits win the tag titles and Lashley is a world champion together. And when they finally break up, Cross says, see, that was because of me.
They're like, we made a lot of money in the meantime, though. Like how, what did you do exactly?
Exactly. So
anyways,
let me get
this match was a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah, this fatal four-way match. You had Damage Control. It was Dakota and Kyrie taking on Shayna and Zoe. Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and then Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. It was chaotic. It was nonstop. Pace was good.
Crowd did not give this the appreciation it deserved because this was a lot of fun. There was a lot of cool stuff going on.
There was a lot of good creative spots in here, yeah. That's for sure. In the end, though, Zoe and Shayna get the win. And the finisher bit they did to get the win on Maxine was pretty neat.
Yeah, that was cool.
Where Zoe does like a reverse powerbomb and chucks Maxine over her head. Yeah. And then Shayna hits her with a V-trigger, essentially.
Yeah.
And they get the win in advance.
We got to see another one of those cool Maxine kip-ups, too.
Yep.
Those are always neat. Anyways, backstage, Kayla's with Ludwig Kaiser. Asks if Gunther is overlooking Jay. Kaiser says, overlooked. Several times he has shown he is superior to anyone out there. I just hope he takes it better than Sheamus. You know Sheamus? He starts to just, bring Sheamus in the equation.
Sheamus.
Yeah. The guy who loves to fight and used to let his fist do the talking. But he only uses his fist to slam keyboards at home now. The Celtic warrior is nothing but a keyboard warrior. Either he stays home and preserves his legacy, or he comes back. Duh! Ludwig Kaiser put him down like Old Yeller. And then Drew comes up out of nowhere. He leaves, and Drew comes in. And he's like, he's probably wonder why I'm here. I wonder why I'm here. Pierce decided to leave me off Raw. Didn't want me to be here. If I'm not cleared so I can't go watch Jay in my spot, I can't even go speak my mind. Screw that and screw him. Let's talk about Priest. He thinks he got one over on me, but no one gets one over on Drew. I got what I wanted last week, a world title rematch. I'm playing chess. He's playing with Guyliner. He says he's running himself thin. It's Seth all over again. LWO tag titles. Braun, mate, here's advice. Focus on the title match. At WrestleMania, I beat a real champion. Now I'm going to beat you. He says, as you were. And then he leaves.
Yep. Then we got Chad Gable talking with the Creed brothers. And sees Otis and gets serious. Says, my number one guy, where have you been? And Otis says, oh, I apologize to Sammy. And Gable says, apologize? Oh, I see you're tugging at his heartstrings, trying to soften him up. That's why you're my number one. I got all your documents and your passport ready for Saturday because we're going to win my Intercontinental Championship together, right? Right. And Otis just kind of says really meekly, right? And then Gable says, no, I want to hear you say it. No matter what. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then we get Jey Uso making his entrance.
Yeah, that's right. So it follows them through the halls. A couple of those fluorescent lights weren't quite color balanced correctly. The camera wasn't quite color balanced correctly for some of those lights in there. Because like at first he was right, and then he goes into the little area, and he's like super blue, and it's like, oh, that was kind of shocking. But anyway,
yeah,
I noticed those things. Then we have the match. I mean, he cuts a promo thing, then he goes out there. It's pretty cool. The entrance is awesome. He's super over. Didn't matter. Got his ass handed to him by the ring general. Wrecked.
It all changed.
Humiliated.
The match was essentially over when Gunther posted Jey twice into the ring post because then he got a bad shoulder. Gunther just wrecked his shoulder, chopped the soul out of his body pretty much. It was devastating.
Yeah, it was.
So the finish did see Jey hit a splash. He covers Gunther. Gunther kicks out. Gunther's right to his feet, and he's kind of propping up Jey. You know how like Blackpool Combat Club does the 12-6 elbows, right?
Yeah, right.
But instead of doing elbows, Gunther's got his fist. He started blasting Jey's bad shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of locks him in a Cobra clutch while grapevining Jey's body. Jey passes out.
Yeah. Oof.
Gosh darn it.
Thought he was going to Uso out there. Nope.
No.
Dead body, limp.
Nope. No, I mean, it was pretty much 8 o'clock when that got locked in. It's like, all right. Well, as soon as Gunther was like blasting Jey with those chops, I was like, all right, this kind of feels like a Gunther win.
Yeah, no, they were running late too because like as soon as the bell hit, that trademark bug came up.
Yeah, and they cut fast whatever was following. Yep,
they sure did.
Fun match, really fun match. Definitely check out the 2 tournament matches from Raw. They were really good.
You ever accidentally check out what is the McCaffrey family? What is it called? It's like whatever comes on after Raw. It didn't come on after Raw last night though. It was something else. It was some like adventure show.
Like Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers running back?
No, I'm probably wrong about that. Somebody on chat will correct me.
You sure it just isn't Crisley?
Bro, they ran out of footage of that guy. You can't get him. That dude is in prison for a very long time. Yep. No, it's like a reality show that makes you think, oh, somebody saw Yellowstone and they want to do like a real version of Yellowstone.
Gotcha. So a ranch show.
Yeah. It's a ranch show.
That doesn't really sound that interesting.
Just comes off like a bunch of assholes, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
So Andre Zimpel says, sorry to do this to you, Steve, since it wasn't the outcome you wanted, but T-Wolves win again. Steve and I are all aboard the T-Wolves bandwagon at this point.
Yeah. Dude, I was sitting there. I watched the entire thing from my couch right here, and I was like, man, they're down 20, but then you see Rudy Gobert. Like, not a lot of people were talking about him, but he got like single-handedly, he got the Nuggets in the bonus super early in the third. It was impressive to see him go to work because, like, I'm not a huge fan of him, but like, man, he was doing some real work in that game.
Yeah.
I'm all on board. I thought going into this series, I was like, man, I'm not sure how the Wolves are going to do against them. This is the defending champion, so I thought maybe this would be another year. But I love that somebody brought that up at the press conference and was like, hey, sometimes teams have to lose. They're like, damn, how much do you want us to lose?
We've been losing for 20 years.
For 20 years.
I know, that was great. I could watch Ant and Cat do
all
press
day
conferences all day.
When they were looking at the stat sheet at the breakdown, and Ant was like, God, that was trash. Look at these numbers.
It was great.
Oh, they're so much fun, dude. They're so much fun. Let's see here.
All in, the T-Wolves win the title this year.
God, dude, I hope so. It'll be interesting. God, I hope they get past the Mavs, dude. I can't stand the Mavs.
I think they will.
I hope so.
They will.
The Indiana versus Celtics will be interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
They
Maybe.
split the season. I mean, I know that doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, but they split the season. Bulldog, yes, we're gonna post Friendo Cast today. I'm gonna do it right after this show today.
Alex Foster asks, what ways outside of wrestling do Judgment Day disappoint Priest? Name it.
God, what ways don't they? Hey, Finn, you and Liv stunk up that car.
That was my car.
That was my car.
What were you doing in there?
Smells like butts in there. What were you doing? I want specifics. None of your business, Damien. You might be the world champion, but I'm the booty champion. Okay, dude. Come on.
Ty Moore here says, let's say the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments actually have to adopt a royalty gimmick. No, thank you.
Yeah, don't.
Who would do that gimmick the best of the remaining competitors? King Gunther? Mm-mm.
I don't like it.
Randall King Orton? No.
Relatively clever.
Imagine Tamatonga with the crown.
Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I'd be there for Queen Nia.
Yeah.
Queen Jax. I'd be there for that. If she did the whole thing with her like surly fucking snarky attitude, that shit would be funny. It would.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Oh, this is a good question. Payday here says, if you guys were to explain the story of Roman and Seth to a non-wrestling fan, would you leave out the content from 2017 to 2020 to make it more cohesive? Yeah, you kind of there's some mental gymnastics you have to do to explain the Shield reunions. A little bit.
Yeah.
It is a more direct through line if you just kind of ignore that. That's for sure.
Let's see here. Lord Blake Whitehouse says, if Orton wins King of the Ring, would that do any harm to Gunther, since WWE recognizes Orton as one of the GOATs? Yes, it would, because it's a loss. And Gunther, and any loss is a harm to Gunther. So yes, I don't care who it is.
Gunther shouldn't be losing. Skylar Morgan says, after the reactions to this J match online, are we seeing proof the only reason to check social media is to see complaints? Seems like people only post when they don't like something while internalizing enjoyment rather than posting about it.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I saw plenty of people super excited over Gunther last night.
I saw more relief from people happy that Gunther won.
Oh, okay.
Because I think they were ready to complain if Jay had won.
Yeah, you're probably right. Twitter still has plenty of value, mainly exclusively entertainment. You know, clips of
talk about Thanasis highlight reels.
Primarily Thanasis highlight reels. Clips from Cat and Ant press conferences.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's still a valuable resource for NBA memes and clips.
It is. It is. Speaking of Thanasis Valkyria says, hey, friendos, Game 7, trip to the finals on the line. Which wrestler do you want taking that last shot? I think, who was the most accomplished college basketball player? I know Satnam Singh was drafted.
Man, unless he's 3 feet away from the hoop, I wouldn't want him taking a shot. I don't know.
Lash Legend. Lash Legend was in the WNBA.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. That's
Lash
a good
Legend.
answer.
Luis asks, was EO losing with no shenanigans the right move? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
Christian Sharp says, what do you guys think will be Cody's big world championship feud outside of the Rock storyline? Like, will he have a defining feud for that world title, and who do you think it could be against? That's actually a pretty good question, to be honest.
On SmackDown, it's probably Orton, given their history. Like, there's potential for good stuff to mine there, but with Orton being super over babyface, Cody being the most popular person in the company, it's going to be kind of tough.
Boy, I don't know. That is a really good question. I mean, with their history, they'd have to reunite him and Seth. Maybe Seth could go bad guy again. I don't know.
Let's see who else is on SmackDown. I mean, like a lot of the top contenders on SmackDown are faces. You got Orton, you got Kevin Owens,
Yeah, right.
Lashley, but they're all super popular.
Yeah.
So unless somebody turns heel on somebody, that's tough.
Yeah, right. Let's see here. I'm trying to find something that we didn't already talk about. So if you didn't get your question answered on YouTube, it's because we kind of already talked about it. My spirit animal is the Dorito asks, original nacho, Cool Ranch, or one of those other flavors.
Oh, I like the spicy Doritos.
He says one of those other flavors.
The spicy ones are good.
I don't, man. I guess I'd be a Cool Ranch guy. But I don't really partake too much in Doritos much anymore.
Yeah, they're not my preferred chip.
A lot of chemical there.
We got. I'm just trying to do something with the super chat. It says happy birthday to me. Yeet.
Yeet. AJ Otani says, have you seen the new Bret Hart Legacy title?
Yeah.
Oh, not into it, huh?
I'm not really into any of the legacy titles. I wouldn't.
The Undertaker one is probably top tier for me.
Yeah, even that, I'm whatever on.
The Bret Hart one is interesting. It's incredibly expensive. It's $750, which it's not that impressive looking a title. I like that it's different. I like that it's, it's not just like a winged eagle.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's $750.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Lord Blake here with the super chat says the Bron match is how I see the Hilton Larson fight. What, the fight never happened, though.
Wait, what fight?
The Hilton Larson fight. But I said that fight never happened.
So
even in your accounting of it, there was actually no fight. Yeah,
blows were never exchanged. But you looked like you wanted to finally put an end to his shenanigans.
So I would have been the Braun Breaker of the situation. Then.
Yeah. He would have been Cale Dixon. Yeah, Hilt Dixon. Let's see here. Juan Villa says, my stepdaughter named our Maltese Bailey. No connection to the wrestler, though, but did you guys ever consider naming a pet after a wrestler? We do have a fish named Gary, and I named him after Gary Hart. So, yeah. No, I'm joking. It is named Gary, but I think he came named. Something like that. Yeah.
Get back to John and Alistair voice question about these Run the Jewel songs with the wrestlers.
Yeah, we can finish with that today.
Call Ticketron. From my understanding, Ticketron was a ticket service in New York City.
New York
City. Kind of like Ticketmaster or the regional ones. So who's a wrestler from New York?
Damian
Priest is from New York. Oh, Eddie Kingston. Yeah, that's good. Legend has it. Lash Legend. Ooh la la. Been a while since I heard that one. I don't know about Ooh La La. Yeah, call Ticketron for Eddie would actually work out pretty well.
All right, we're going to do this one last thing here. You and I are going to do our live reaction to this. I'm going to text you this picture right here. I know you've seen it already, but I'm still going to text it to you.
All right.
Because who is this? Forgotten Media says, have you seen the early images of Rock in his MMA movie?
I've seen
He's playing Mark Kerr.
Yeah.
So what do they do to his face?
Well, he's got a prosthetic nose.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that Bruce Willis movie in Looper.
Yeah. I think that's the major thing.
He also has a decent head of hair. He's got hair, yeah. They also did the thing where they took the tattoos off.
Yeah. Well, he's had to sit in the makeup chair for that.
You think that's what it is?
That's how they get rid of, I mean, historically, yeah.
With Punk in the show Heels, they gave him like a layer of skin. Not actual skin, but it was like, it was like a bodysuit kind of.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly this is not that. You're probably right. It's just a makeup chair. Yeah.
Well, with Punk, his tattoos are so extensive. I guess he'd be in that chair for hours.
Here's the reason why this movie is going to be awesome. It's because it's Benny Safdie directing it. This movie's going to be fucking awesome, and it's probably going to be very uncomfortable to watch. And I think Dwayne wants an Oscar because why else would he do this?
Well, at the least, he wants to be taken seriously as an actor.
Yeah, right. Which, looking at this, complete transformation of his face and hair, no tattoos. I think that he's going to be up for best picture for best actor.
Best actor.
Yeah,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and the winner is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Has he retired from acting yet? That was always the thing. Is he's gonna do one more movie and then retire?
Dude, he did that a million times. But then he did Phantom Thread. That wasn't that.
I know, but he hasn't done anything since, has he?
I want to say he's gonna be in something at some point. I saw a great anecdote the other day with John C. Reilly where he said that in advance of filming Gangs of New York, Daniel Day-Lewis had him over at his house and played with his kids, and it was all really fun and stuff. And then on the day they were gonna shoot, he goes, "Hey, Daniel, thank you very much for having me at your house, me and my family." And he said, "Fuck off," in character, because he's just always in character. Yeah, the butcher guy. He's a gnarly guy. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Oh, no. Carson Gillis with a super chat says, "Not more rock stuff." Thanks, Carson. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.